Hey, welcome to the How to Podcast series. Yeah, this is it, the How to Podcast series. Happy to have you here. My name is Dave. I live in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, right near Niagara Falls. Big hill, lots of water, and tourists. It's kind of a nice thing. You should come see it sometime. I'll put some pictures up of some shots that I took around the falls. I go by there every day, and it's amazing. Beautiful place. Come and see it. Put it on your wish list. And when you come, let's have coffee together. Welcome to the How to Podcast series. I want to talk to you today about something you should do before you release your very first episode. Huh? You curious at all? Yeah? Okay, stick around. Here we go. So I've been working through this idea, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, so I obviously don't expect that this is my idea by any means. But I think it's be something that could help you and help other podcasters who are either just starting out or learning the craft or getting used to talking on a microphone in a room by yourself. It's something you got to learn how to do, and it doesn't just happen naturally for everyone. And I think it's something that you should practice. Practice makes perfect. Correct? Yes or no? Do you believe that? Yes? Ding? Okay, yeah. Practice makes perfect. I play guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 10. My parents told me to learn guitar or accordion. I knew that accordion was not in my future because I'm not Weird Al Yankovic. So I went with guitar. And I'm glad I did. Except I hated being forced to take lessons. Anyways, I have 9 guitars right now. I'm playing in bands, doing all that kind of stuff. I love playing music. It's really, really fun. It's entertaining. I love watching a live band. I'm not the guy that dances at a show. I'm the guy that wants to figure out how they just played that last part. And my wife is quite annoyed that I just stand there and I'm deconstructing the music of the band instead of having a good time. So that's my problem, and I'm admitting that here on a podcast. Anyway, I now will continue with my podcast that is still in progress. Before you go and play guitar, and especially in front of an audience, you need to practice. Unless you're some kind of genius, it doesn't just come naturally. You open the case and you know how to play the guitar. You do have to spend some time investing learning chords and building up calluses on your fingers and stretching your hands out and making a ton of mistakes and watching a lot of YouTube videos or taking lessons or whatever that is. And the older you are, the harder it is to learn. So the sooner you can do this, the better. And over time, you build muscle memory. Your hands just know where notes are on the strings on the fretboard because you just play on a regular basis. A funny story, I like to practice with my eyes shut when I'm playing, so I'm not looking at my left hand. This is where I would do my chords. I'm right-handed, so my left hand is where I would form all my notes on the fretboard. And instead of staring at my left hand, I shut my eyes so that I just know where each note would be without having to look at my hands. Why is this important? I didn't know really why it would ever come in handy until I was playing a gig, and in the middle of the gig, somebody tripped over the wires for all of the lights on stage, and everything went pitch black. We still had sound. The song was still midway through the song, but there was absolutely zero light anywhere. And while they're fumbling around to figure out who tripped over the cord and plug it back in, the song carried on. Why? Because we knew where our hands were and we knew how to continue playing even though we couldn't see our hands. Why? Because we practiced that way. And when the lights came on, the crowd went crazy because the band kept playing in the pitch black. It was hilarious. It was amazing. It was a really cool moment. It wasn't planned, I promise you, but We just knew where our hands were, and our muscle memory was there because we invested time practicing. Now, if you are thinking about starting a podcast, that's like saying, Dave, I'm thinking about learning how to play the guitar. Awesome. Do you have any muscle memory? Do you know where your fingers go on the frets? Do you have any idea on how intricate and how much there is to learn on the guitar before you hop up on stage and plug in? There's a lot to learn. And there's a lot to learn in podcasting before you send out your first episode. I believe, and I might be the only one in the world, that your first episodes don't have to suck. Everybody says, oh, just get your first episodes out there because they're going to be terrible. You don't know what you're doing and you'll get better, but don't wait till you're perfect. Just get them out there, and everybody's first episodes are terrible. That is crazy talk, because with all of the lessons and all of the teaching and all the resources you have as a new podcaster, you can learn a lot before you hit record for the first time. Here's my challenge to you. How about creating, and this is what this podcast episode is about, what you should do before releasing your very first episode. I want you to practice. How do I do that, Dave? Well, I'm anticipating that you have some sort of microphone and some way of recording. Good. Ding, ding. That's awesome. How about, now, I know as soon as I say this word, everyone's going to rise up against me and raise, it's not going to be pretty. But anyway, I'm going to mention Anchor FM. Yes. And they are free. Yes. I'm a big fan of free. Yes. I will always encourage you to try free before you pay for anything. Yes. Why? Because I'm a real person and I'm not paid by anybody to tell you otherwise. Anchor FM is free. Let's let that sink in for a second. Free. Yes. And you can actually record on Anchor FM directly. You can send all your information into Anchor FM and you can actually make your podcast episode on Anchor. Again, for free. Now, what I would love to see you do is to record some episodes on your own or with your co-host, however you're doing your podcast. And I want you to go practice on Anchor FM and send your podcast out to the world and try it. Just try it and see what happens. Learn how to do a podcast by doing a podcast. Please stop reading books. Please stop listening to other podcasts other than this one. And just start recording and start practicing. If you're going to do something with a co-host, okay, who starts? You're going to start, or am I going to start? Who's doing the intro? Who's doing the outro? What is our format going to look like? How are we doing this? Who's speaking first? Right? Try it. Practice together, the two of you, on Anchor. However you're going to do this. And start practicing now, before you send out your very first episode. Get good at something. Get your guitar out of the case and practice. Do the scales. Try some chords. Learn some songs. Practice with your eyes shut. Get that muscle memory going so that when you get up on stage, you are good to go because you've invested time. Don't schedule your first podcast interview with the first time using the recording software or the platform or however you're going to capture this. Don't do it the first time with your first guest. And you have no idea what you're doing. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Sign up for Anchor FM today for free and start practicing your podcast. It might only go out to a few podcast apps, but you can always go in and you can always delete them. And what I would do is I would let them roll out. And you're like, oh, but somebody might hear me. Good chance no one's going to hear you. I'm sorry, but you're a new podcaster. I'm a new podcaster. If you don't tell anybody, nobody's really going to find it. But the nice thing is you can come back after your podcast is out into the world, whatever app that goes on to. I can help you with this, by the way. You can go listen to your practice. I'm doing my air quotes, practice podcast as a listener on the app and go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm a superstar. Or, I need to practice more. Yeah. And you can listen to your podcast with podcast listener ears. So go to Anchor, sign up for Anchor, and start recording. Record an episode or 2 or 10 or 20, whatever. If you're going to do a podcast where you read, record your podcast as you're reading and then go listen. And realize that when you speak a written text, it doesn't sound like a real human. It sounds odd. And you might be going, I don't know if I like that. How do you know until you try? Go to Anchor FM. I'll have a link in the show notes for Anchor. It's free, so obviously I'm not getting any kind of affiliate money or anything for this because it's free. But go there and try Anchor FM. And if you do this, send me the information for your podcasts. And if you don't know how to do that, contact me and I'll let you know. But send me and I will listen to it as well. And we'll go back and forth and share some ideas back and forth. Okay? You and me. And this is all done in advance of your podcast launching. And you're thinking, okay, Dave, well, it's November, middle of November. I'd like to have my podcast out by Christmas. Well, I've heard from other people that Apple takes like the month of the last few weeks of the year off. They just disappear. And for me, that doesn't matter to me because I don't really, I'm focused on other apps besides just one app, Apple. So your podcast can go out even without Apple, just by the way. But you won't get in Apple if that's your goal by anytime soon because they're all going to be on holidays. So, but go out, create the podcast, send it out to an app, listen to it as a listener would listen with your earbuds and your headphones, and listen to it and make notes. Maybe send it to one of your friends or somebody and say, can you listen to this? And just like, tell me what's good and what's not good. I trust you. And if you don't have somebody like that in your corner, I'm willing to do that for you and help you along and give you honest feedback. And I hope as well that you will give me honest feedback on my podcast. That's how this works. We're all here together, working together to get better and to serve our audience. I want to serve you. You want to serve your audience. That's why we're here. So sign up for Anchor today. And even if you only use it for your practice episodes and you never use it again, at least there's a tool there for you to practice and hear your practice podcast episodes. And once again, for those in the back, it's free. So instead of having people put Anchor down as a free app, a free resource that people don't like free, don't let them get to you. Use the tools available to you before you spend anything and practice. Figure out if you like this. Figure out if you want to do a half-hour show, a 5-minute show, a daily show, a weekly show, and do a month of it and see if you can do it. See if you can fit it into your schedule. See if your family still loves you after you've done a few episodes. Is it frustrating? Is it easy? What's hard? What's easy? What do you not know? You don't know what you don't know, and you won't know until you start. So Anchor FM, go sign up, start practicing, release it out on an app, listen to it, make tweaks, learn from your mistakes, get better, practice, and then record episode number 1. I know, you don't have to record episode number 1 as episode number 1. Your episode number 1 could be actually episode number 21 because you've recorded 20 times before this and ditched them all. It's okay to practice, people. Any musician will tell you to practice. And I'm telling you, for your podcast, please practice. Please don't release your first episode as if it's your first episode. Use the tools that are available to you for free. Learn, grow, get feedback, and then record episode 1, and it won't suck. I'm here to help you. How to Podcast series. Link in the show notes to all of our information. If you ever need somebody just to sit with you and chat for a little bit and give you some ideas, reach out. I keep asking. I'm waiting for you to reach out. If you need some help, I would love to help you. Thank you for listening to the How to Podcast series. Let's get you up and going as soon as possible. Happy November. Cheers, guys. Hey, this is Dave from the podcast. Thank you for listening to the How to Podcast series. We have a new website, easy to find, howtopodcast.ca. Not .com, .ca. I'm in Canada, so .ca. Howtopodcast.ca is how to find us. How easy is that, right? How did I get that domain? Oh, howtopodcast.ca. Link in the show note below. This is just a quick little thing to let you know, hey, the website's being worked on. It's active. You can go there now. howtopodcast.ca. I would love for you to come over there. It's not the .com. Somebody already had that. I have the .ca because I live in Canada. Ta-da! So, howtopodcast.ca. I'll see you over there. Thank you for being part of the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, and do all the things we ask you to do. Catch you on the next one.